your brand. The face or profile you or your company shows the world. That's how you do business with your existing customers, it's how you propose you would do business with potential customers, and it's everyone else that may come across your company and its communications from time to time. It communicates key messages about you and your business, your ethos, your values, heritage is one, and it also gives you an ident that distinguishes you from your competitors. Brand verb. It's also how you manipulate, develop, construct, and be the guardian of your brand. It's how you manipulate it and monitor it across every point of contact your company has with all those aforementioned groups. And eventually, properly maintained, it becomes the cornerstone of how you market yourself, of how you do and get business. Myth bust one, it's not just your logo. It's every piece of print, every piece of interaction and communication that goes out from the in the name of your company and represents your company. No business exists or operates in a vacuum. It's not possible. Your businesses already have customers, you already have strategic partners, you may have social media followers, all the people you're in contact with. Therefore, realise it or not, you all already have a brand.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, and whether you're making the most of it or not. Part two, what's it for? Why do you do it? A well-managed brand basically makes you look like a grown-up. It's there to make you look like you know what you're doing. You look organised, reliable, few sneakers there. Self-confidence.
That is your brand, Rod. Sniggering.
So you look organised, reliable and professional. Ideally, anyway. You're all experts in what you do. You must be, because you're making a living at it.
Who told you that?
All a well-managed brand does is tell people what you already know about yourself when you're not there to do it face to face. We often hear the expression that people buy from people. It's true, but they have to trust you first, and your brand, possibly. You just find the right word. Properly maintained will help build trust. It'll help build loyalty, and again, it's that thing about your identity. It defines you and differentiates you from your competitors. It's not just a nice thing to have; it's a must-have. 3. How do you do it? How do you do branding? Well, it starts with the definition. You've got to define your company. You've got to identify and nail down those values and ideas and practices that you use every day. There are questions like, what's our philosophy or ethos? What's the business model? Who are your customers? Do you want more of the same customers? Do you want different customers? Who are your competitors? What makes you different from your competitors? What did you set out to achieve when you started your business? I have a handful of examples, but the list goes on and on and on. You can probably think of ones while I'm talking. And the purpose of all those questions is that at the end, you should be able to distill all the information down into a definition of who you are and what you do. And that definition is the core of your brand. It could be a couple of sentences, it could be a list, it could be a couple of paragraphs, it could be a chapter. But you identify key elements and key values. Values, ideas, practices, philosophies, any of those elements that define a business, you have to figure out what yours are. As I've mentioned, I'm a graphic designer, so my key area of expertise within branding is the visual identity. Visual identity, brand identity, corporate identity used to be called. Some of you are probably familiar with those expressions. So I'll talk about that now. The logo, while not being your brand in its entirety, it is the hub of your visual identity. It's got to, you live with it every day. Getting it developed is a long, slow process because it has to be right. The the fonts, the colours, any symbols or images you use with it, you have to be happy with them. You've got to get up and look at it every morning and think, yes, I'm still happy with that. I've prepared you an example of how it might work. So,
Here's one I made earlier.
This company called Briggs and Mason, and they're chartered accountants. And you think you might put some work there. If you track them down, and their identity looks something like that, you might think to yourself, okay, I think I can trust them, they look like they know what they're doing. Certainly worth talking to them, because the style's right, the elements are right, the tone of voice is right. If, however, you track them down, and they look like that, you're going to think they're only with the balloon animals. I wouldn't trust them with my money.
You think, what drugs are they on? And can I have some?
So it's core skills of work. There's other elements, of course. There's a list. The list goes on. The size of the list depends on the size of your company and how much of your, or across which media basically it's necessary to apply your visual identity. But think about things like colours. Keep the same colours. Typefaces and type styles are important. Key messages and straplines. If you're the police, you might say, tackling the bad guys so you don't have to, something like that. Photography.
Bang 'em up.
Common for some companies with nous and a bit of cash to spend maybe a couple of days. They will get a bunch of generic but professionally taken photographs that they can use across a whole range of media. You can use it across your website, social media, in print, prestige brochures, press advertising. And they all form another element that puts that brand across consistently and professionally. The key word here I've written down is holistic. The whole thing has to be, every element has to look like it's part of a whole. Not a hole in the ground, a whole being, a complete entity, all thought of and put
Has to hang together.
People at the same time with the same ethos and philosophy. And another key word is consistency, basically. A brand works hardest when it's applied consistently and repetitively. Don't go changing elements on the way. Like I said, the process of getting your brand designed is a long, slow process, and you've got to live with it. If halfway through you think, actually I don't like that shape of blue, in terms of your brand, you're kind of stuck with it until it comes round to doing it again. Changing things, key elements on a wing, is only going to damage it. Cross-media application. A lot of the time you might find you've got one designer for print, or one creative team for print, and another figure online stuff. It's important that they're singing from the same hymn sheet. They both